Early voting officially kicks off today as Aussies begin to head to the polls to choose their next government. The latest polling shows Anthony Albanese has widened his lead as preferred Prime Minister, with 52% of Aussies backing the Labor leader. Peter Dutton now has just 11 days to turn the ship around, with nearly 45% of respondents pointing to his personality as the top reason why they won't vote Liberal. For more, Liberal leader Peter Dutton joins us live in Orange, New South Wales. Good morning to you. Before we begin, the Catholic world is mourning the death of Pope Francis today. What's your message to those affected by this loss?
Well, Nat, obviously to everybody of Catholic faith and Christians more generally, we saw a compassionate man, somebody who was full of mercy and somebody who always took care of those who he saw in need, and for somebody to dedicate their lives to their God and to their belief structure and to their values, it's an amazing study. So our thoughts and prayers are with the Catholic community today, and as you've seen all morning and as we'll see in the coming days, the celebration of his life and what it meant and the way in which he was able to help those people with nothing and dedicated himself to making their lives better should be an inspiration for every human being. Yeah,
it's a time for reflection for so many, isn't it? Let's go to the election. Look, the elephant in the room is this polling. According to a survey this week, 45% of voters say you are the reason they won't vote for the coalition. How do you correct course from here?
Well, Nat, today's not the day for big politicking, but obviously the government has thrown mud and they've spent $20 million of negative advertising over the course of the last couple of months, most of it just based on a lie, frankly, in relation to the Mediscare campaign. The bulk billing rates have dropped under this government, and in relation to the nuclear figure, complete fabrication. So I think people realise that what the government's saying has been built on a lie, but if you throw mud in this game and if you put $20 million behind it, then it has an impact. But for me, I'm a truthful, honest person, and I have said all along during the course of this campaign and over the course of my career that I'll stand up for what I believe in, and sometimes that means that you can make some people unhappy, but I truly believe, as we did yesterday, that crime and law and order is a very significant issue, and I want to do more to keep our country and our communities safe. I want to do more to help families who are really struggling at the moment, and our 25 cent a litre cut to fuel tax is going to help families straight away, a $1,200 tax cut, helping families and young people in particular get into homes is a real passion. So that's what the election will be contested on, not the personalities and the mud being thrown by Labor.
Well, it sounds like it will be contested on personality. When you've got nearly half the electorate in these surveys saying it's your personality, does some of that hurt?
No, I think if you have a look at the 2019 poll result, where all the published polling was pointing one way.
Yep.
The reality is that there was a different outcome. Now, I'm not going to go into the private polling, but you'll see where the government's spending money at the moment in their seats. They're defending seats at the moment. They're not on the offensive. So I think there's a bit more of a sophisticated view in relation to the polling and what's happening at the moment. Australians are hurting. That's the reality. People really are going backwards. And we've had a household recession for almost 2 years for many families. So the question is, how can we help people? And are people better off after 3 years of this government? I just don't believe that they are. And we have an opportunity to course correct to get our country back on track, and that's exactly what we're focused on.
You're right. The polls are fascinating because they basically flipped. You were in front a couple of months ago and now you're behind. But are you saying that your private polling, your internal polling, is saying something different, that you can win here?
No question about that, Nat, and I suspect the internal polling in the Labor Party is doing the same, because you have a look in the Australian today where they're spending money, they're defending seats, and that's the reality. In Victoria, people have had enough of Labor, both at a state and federal level. The government's pulled money out of infrastructure, brought in 1 million people, which has created a housing crisis. 30,000 small businesses have gone broke, and sadly, tragically, behind each one of those businesses is a story about somebody who's lost their home or their life savings. And I think there are a lot of quiet Australians who aren't really that interested in politics, but know the reality of their own lives over the last few years, or their neighbour or their sister or brother or somebody in their family, and they know it's not been an easy time. And it's not a beauty contest, it's about how we can help Australians. And I want to make sure that we can help people immediately with the 25 cent a litre tax cut. I want to make sure that we can give their tax back to them, $1,200 back to help them cope with the cost of living crisis at the moment. Fix up our energy market, which is destroying the economy at the moment. It's forcing up the price of food, and I want to make sure that we can help Australians afford to live again and also get into a house. That's incredibly important. We do that through our policy. We want to make sure that we have a safer community, which is why we announced our $750 million yesterday. And we did that knowing that there are a lot of Australians who are really concerned about the rise of crime. We were in Dunkley yesterday in Victoria. In Frankston, there's been a 21% increase in crime over the course of the last 12 months.
OK, well, look, Aussies have their say from today. Early polling is up. Mr. Dutton, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Nat. Take care.